Hello, my name is Alan, and I'm here today to talk to you about the human soul. I've been studying the human soul for the last, I'd say, 20 years, maybe 25 years. Looking into lots of different studies, and I think my understanding's quite in depth now compared to a lot of people who's on the internet. The human soul is actually energetic in nature. It's got a construction that is nebulous, but it's made of like a toroidal and vortices shape. It lies between the spine and the front of the heart. It records information, which is then transferred through what's called the astral cord, through the top of the crown, and this goes through a chakra above your head. I'd say about 6 to 10 inches above your head. And this information goes back to something called the oversoul, which is part of the field of the universe. This is actually being done on purpose. It's actually science at work. We're living in a sort of holographic simulation based on pulsations of energy at a subatomic and atomic level, which creates the bandwidth of reality we're in. It's sort of electro-holographic universe. And all the information goes back to source, what the higher ETs call prime creator. Some of them, like the Andromedans, call it the Ishness. There's various names for it, but it's the same thing. It's the one supreme creator who's created the whole universe, who has intelligence, much greater intelligence than we could think of. The great mistake humanity has made is they think intelligence only exists in biological format. Now, this is a big mistake, because intelligence can exist in energy. In fact, intelligence existed in energy before any of the biological beings existed. People call this a consciousness field. It really should be called the pulsing energy, intelligence and information field, because it's pulsing, energetic, it's got intelligence in it, and it's full of information. Some people call the localized one, which is surrounding the earth, the Akashic records. But I mean, this is a very, very small part of the universe, and this information is limited because it's part of the universe compared to the whole. The human soul actually weighs between 4 and 6 grams in weight. It's very, very small, it's nebulous, and it retracts when people die. This has been hidden by the dark forces here. They know quite a lot about it. The Nazis did some very, very nasty experiments during the Second World War in the concentration camps, which has been covered up. Dr. Mengele and others did a lot of experiments where they killed people. Most of them were Romani gypsies, Polish and Jews, which are put in the concentration camps, and they weighed them, took lots of measurements of them, and then systematically murdered them in different ways. And each time they found, by pure accident, that between 4 and 16 grams in weight was missing from the human cadaver or the human body afterwards, and they couldn't understand why this was going on. And eventually one of them worked out that there was an energy field leaving the human body at the point of death or just after death, and this was what accounted for the loss in weight, 4 to 16 grams. Now, a human soul, it records information, and over time, as it gains experience, it gains mass. And this is why there's a discrepancy between the souls of between 4 and 16 grams. Souls which are older have a tendency to have a larger weight, and they've got a lot of information in. Unfortunately, because of our physicality, we've been unable to access the information within our old soul in the chest and from what people call the higher self, which is the oversoul, which is in the field of the universe. People don't actually understand what God is. God was an intelligence which became self-aware. There was a big field, and part of this field became assimilated, i.e. ordered in a certain way, and it became self-aware of itself. This was our prime creator, God. It became aware of itself and began to replicate itself till it expanded and took over the whole of the field, which is the universe, the energy field. The energy was already there. I don't know why or where it come from, but it was already there. And it had intelligence, and it sat there, and it worked out as much as it could within this extremely fast field, but it was limited. It couldn't do anything else. So he started to experiment with the field that he was made of, and by pulsing it in certain ways, we got physicality. And this is where physicality comes from. It's actually pulsations and wave compressions. As soon as you start getting wave compressions of this energy, you start to get a build-up of it creates subatomic particles and eventually atoms, which is what creates our reality. But there's lots of different bandwidths, and there's different souls depending on which bandwidth you're in. We actually have a multi-dimensional soul because, as people have explained on the internet, time doesn't actually exist. Time is local specific. In our bandwidth reality, time is different to the next dimension up because of the flow of the energy and the rotation of the subatomic and atomic particles. So time's different, even though the souls, there's still souls and physiology in the next bandwidth as you go slowly up. I've drawn a diagram. This is a very rough diagram. I don't know if you can see it, about the multi-dimensional soul tree. There's different levels, different dimensions, and people have got multiple lives, and all this information goes back to source. It's all interconnected, like a massive internet system, if you like. And it was created by Creator in order to gain information so he can understand the universe, what he can create, and himself. And that's why we're all here. That's the only reason we're all here, is to learn. We're actually energy beings who take on physicality. Creator couldn't get inside and experience things himself, so he has to do it through the eyes, ears of his children. And we are his children. But we're not physical, we're energetic, very tiny energetic energy beings, which is kind of like two and over. So, but this has been forgotten or hidden, and it's about time people knew that. Earth was actually not meant to be a third dimensional reality. It was actually meant to be what's called a lower fourth dimensional reality. And according to depending on whereabouts we were in what's this big ellipse cycle, as we move around the galaxy, the solar system moves around the galaxy in this big ellipse. And the energy changes depend on how close we are to the galactic centre. And Earth was meant to be a lower fourth dimensional to fifth dimensional world, because the bandwidth changes, and as the bandwidth changes, physiology changes. But this was interfered with twice, and the third time by basically an accident 13,000 years ago, which people call the fall of Atlantis, which caused an earth-wide wobble, which we've still got repercussions of today, because it's affected the vortices of the Earth. We're slowly sort of correcting this out because the sun's giving off this new energy now, and the vortices are starting to line up again. But things are still not right in the solar system. The solar system has had a hell of a lot of problems because of these three great frequency drops. One was 960,000 years ago was the first one. When the planet Maldek was destroyed, it created a drop in frequency within the solar system. I'm not going to go into how it happened, but they call it asteroid belt now. But there was a planet there. A lot of it would disappear into the sun or hit other planets. You can actually see the scars on Mars, and it affected Mars in a very bad way 960,000 years ago, leaving craters all over the surface. And it affected the people who were living on Mars at the time. It virtually wiped them out. It also affected the Earth. Eventually they will find scars on Earth when this happened. The next one that happened was just over 74,000 years ago. Something happened, something interfered with what happened and caused another drop, which I'm not going to go into. And the one 13,000 years ago, when the Atlantis fell because a piece of technology was used which basically exploded a huge magma mound which was in the crust, which created a sort of super volcano, a collapsing super volcano, which created a nuclear winter which wiped out over 99% of humanity, and we've been picking the pieces up ever since. Anyway, that's the information about the human soul. We're all electrical beings walking around in a suit, but we've all forgot what we are. We're all actors in a play, and the actors have forgot who they are. I've discovered this over time. I started to realise it probably about in the year 2000 when I was hypnotised by a hypnotist because I had a problem. And later on I trained as a qualified hypnotist. I did the two best courses at the time in the UK on hypnotherapy. And my understanding, so I started to really wake up from then. I've been studying about the human soul and the history of the solar system ever since. The higher ETs, and there is higher ETs that come here, called the human soul a bio-electro-holographic fragment. Bio-electro-holographic fragment, that's what they call it. And people will say, well, how come there's so many people on the planet if there was such a few souls beforehand? Well, this can be explained because if there's a soul doesn't come into the human body, you start in fetal form, a new fragment starts to be formed in fetus, and these people are when they're born are very, very, very poor intellectually, very clumsy, not very skilled, and they're new fragments. That what I call young souls, and there's been a lot of young souls born here. There was actually 1.5 billion people on the planet 13,000 years ago, and these all reincarnated. There's a lot of souls here who are 20,000 years old or more, but this is still considered very young, considering the age of the universe. Anyway, that's the information. My name is Alan Watson. Thank you for listening anyway. Thank you.